everyone! Today we're not going to go over a math lesson. Instead, we're going to go behind the scenes and talk about how I teach math remotely. COVID-19 has recently changed the way we live, and it's also changing the way that we learn. So I wanted to make this quick video and talk specifically about how I teach math remotely. As a background, I've been in the math education world for about 10 years, and currently I teach at a school that follows the blended learning model. What that means is that a couple days out of the week, we actually go into school and have face-to-face classes. For the other days of the week, we learn all our subjects remotely and independently from home. So I wanted to share how I teach math remotely to my students. I'm going to go through the materials that you'll need and the format that I use in class. I want to stress that there are many different ways that you can teach math remotely. This is just one way, my way. It is not the correct way or the best way. If you do have any comments, questions, or ideas that you want to share, please make sure that you put that in the comments. So let's get started. So let's start off with materials. The materials I use to teach my math class remotely are a Wacom pad and stylus, the page marker Chrome extension, Google Docs and slides, Khan Academy and iExcel for assignments and assessments, YouTube for posting my videos, Zoom for live classes and tutoring, QuickTime for screen recording of my lessons, and GoFormative, a website I use for assessments. All right, the first item on the list that we're going to talk about is the stylus and pad that I use. The brand that I use is Wacom. There are plenty of other brands that you can find. Wacom. So all you do is you just hook up your pad to the computer with this right here, and then you can write on your pad with your stylus with a lot of clarity and accuracy. If you do not have access to a stylus and pad, I am going to go over a Chrome extension later that you can also use to show your work on the computer. Okay, once you have your stylus and pad or other writing utensil ready to go, what you can do is open up a Google Doc and set up your lesson, like I have here. A lot of people recommend using Screencastify or other programs that you can find online because they're free. However, I've found that the free version will usually limit your time to like 5 minutes, and 5 minutes is just not enough to execute a lesson. So what I found to be useful is using QuickTime Player on my computer because it's already there, so it's technically free, and there's no limit. The only limit is the amount of storage that you have on your computer. But once I upload my video onto YouTube, I can erase it from my computer, so it hasn't been too much of a problem. So you're going to open up your QuickTime Player, and you're going to select New Screen Recording. So I right-click to get to that screen, New Screen Recording. You also have the option to make a new movie recording that uses the camera on your computer, or an audio recording, and that's just the sound. When you click on New Screen Recording, a red record button will pop up, and you can click on that. It's not going to immediately start recording because it's going to give you the option to either record the full screen or drag that window to only record part of the screen. I like to only record part of the screen, which is my Google Doc, so that students can see the entire screen without seeing all my tabs open and all that junk. And then later on, you're just going to do the same thing in order to end the screen recording. However, you might have to trim the video afterwards to get rid of that part, that end part of the video. All right, and now you're ready to get started. So as a rule of thumb, I like to start my Google Doc with the topic for the day, so the lesson's title. And I also like to start with reminders to the students. I want to give them a guidance on how to take notes because note-taking in math is very important. I tell them that they don't have to write everything down, but they do have to at least write down important information such as keywords, vocabulary, hints, and at least one example of each type of problem that we're going to cover in the video. So the key is not so much the quantity, but the quality of their notes. And same thing goes for your videos too. You don't want it to be too long. It's better to have one or two really good examples that are diverse rather than 5 or 6 examples and you're going to lose the students' interest. You also want to remind them that since this is a video that they're watching at home, they can go at their own pace. So this is the beauty of learning remotely. In the classroom, students have to, go at the teacher's pace, but at home, they can pause the video if they have something important they want to jot down or go use the restroom. They can rewind if they want to see that information again, and they can fast forward if they're one of the high flyers who already got it and they just want to do a quick review. But I do warn them that going ahead too quickly or too much could cause them to possibly miss out on things that are important. So after that, that's when I start on the lesson. There's a lot of images that you can get from Google Image so that you don't have to recreate graphics. So I have important information and reminders. And again, all of this is housed in one Google Doc so that if you do have to go back and look at other information, you have a place for that. I also have links to videos because if you are not in the classroom with your students, you're going to miss out on some, face-to-face tangible experiences with students. So YouTube videos are very helpful there. I like to end my videos with a couple of examples from Khan Academy. Khan Academy is also where I like to assign exercises to my students, so I rely on it a lot. Khan Academy is free of charge. You can set up your classes very easily. Students have their own logins, and they have lessons that are organized by units. When you click into them, you have actually Khan Academy videos that are available. They're about 2 to 3 minutes long. My students use these as supplemental videos because they prefer to have me explaining the content. However, Khan Academy videos are always available there if they want a quick review. So anything with a play button next to it is a quick video. Anything with a pencil next to it is an actual exercise that students can work on. And this symbol is next to any articles. So articles give students a quick kind of like study guide review with practice lessons. So what I do is I click on an actual exercise. This is like the question bank that questions are assigned for students. I go to the student view and I click on the doodle. So this is where my stylus and pad come into play because in my lesson I can work out exercises with my students and I can use my pen to show my work. So I can circle things, I can use different colors to make emphasis on different words. I can draw things. The only thing with Khan Academy is you can only draw in this area with the grid. You can't draw in any areas that don't have the grid. And it gets a little tricky with graphs because graphs sometimes don't have that grid area. But the stylus is super helpful there. And then you can work on problems together. I just chose something randomly. Khan Academy does allow students to look at their mistakes and get a step-by-step explanation as to why their mistake was incorrect and what the correct answer is. And also suggests videos that they can watch to kind of work as an intervention. When you assign students with any item, you can assign them with videos to watch as well as articles and exercises. All you have to do is click on that checkbox. You can assign that whole cluster as well. And after you set up your math class, you can choose which class you're assigning it to. You can set whether students are getting the same question set or different question set. I suggest a different question set so that they don't just memorize the answers. You have a due date. Time I usually set as midnight, so there's flexibility. And I'm not going to click on this, but if you click on this drop-down menu, you can either assign it to everyone in your class, or you can pick and choose which students you want to assign that exercise to. So it really allows you to differentiate the assignment for students. So you can do that by assigning students everything that they have to get done that week. I do that usually on a Sunday so that some students can get ahead and watch videos if they want to, or you can do it day by day. I'm also not going to click on this, but scores, if you click on that, you can get all your students' scores listed and you can see exactly which problems they actually got correct and which ones they got incorrect so that you can better help them out later on. So that's Khan Academy, again, free to use, super helpful. Okay, if you do not have a stylus and pad at home, there is a Chrome extension called Page Marker, and it looks something like this. It's a little less easy to use compared to the Khan Academy doodle tool. So I only use Page Marker when I have to, and Page Marker works for any website, anything on your screen actually. So if you use iExcel for your exercises, this works for iExcel. You can choose different colors, you can mark anywhere on your page, you can erase pretty easily. But I wish they had an undo button, but they don't, so that's what makes it a little more difficult. There's a lot of screens popping up, so it can be kind of much. You can change the width of your pen. Oops. You can change the width of your pen just to better make your point. The only thing with Page Marker is that you can't, your screen is kind of frozen there. You would have to close Page Marker, which would end up erasing everything that you wrote in order for you to glide up and down and go elsewhere on that screen. So that's Page Marker. It's a Chrome extension, free. You just have to install it into. When you are done with your video, you are ready to upload your video onto YouTube. It's very easy to do. It takes about 15 minutes if you have good Wi-Fi. And then you can start sharing your video with your students. After a while, you'll have a pretty good collection of videos, which allows students to go back and review old materials, because a lot of times students want to retry a concept, and it really allows them that flexibility to do so. My channel is Math with Miss Sun, and you can definitely check out all my videos there. GoFormative is a website that I've been using a little bit more recently. It is by subscription only. However, recently, very recently, GoFormative has come out and said that they will allow free access to educators because of what's going on in our world. So please go to GoFormative and check that out. It is what I use for assessments. It's pretty easy to use to create assessments, or formatives as they call it. and I'm going to show you an example from a couple weeks ago. This is an assessment that I created to quiz my 6th graders on their understanding of composite shapes. You can assign different amounts of points for each question. You can add in audio, a link, emoji, images, math operations, videos. You can choose how students will respond. I haven't used audio response yet, but that might be a cool way for you to listen to students' reasoning. Show your work is interesting, but students do have to use their notepad, their mouse pad to show their work, and you do have to grade that one by one because GoFormative does automatically grade questions for you. The only thing is you do have to kind of anticipate what kind of answers students will give you. So since this answer was 48 centimeters squared, I did have to put in all the different ways that students could write in the answer, including forgetting the squared part. Same thing goes for this question. So many different ways students could answer that. And this is a multiple selection question. Assigning students is pretty easy. You can have them log in with Gmail accounts if they have it. But the responses is pretty cool because you can see all the different responses all at once from students. And even if you missed one of the correct answers, you could go in and, for instance, this one was missed. So you can go in and you can change it to a correct response, and it will ask you automatically, do you want to add that as another possible answer to the answer key? I am not going to because that is actually incorrect. I'm going to change that. So it's pretty easy. You can do that for every single type of question so that you can really see how your students are doing at a glance. And then as a whole, you can see how students are doing for the entire assessment. As of now, the names are hidden because of confidentiality reasons, but it's pretty cool to be able to see how students are doing compared to their peers. Now, there's also a library. If you click on that, there are tons of other resources available that other teachers who are using GoFormative have shared with the sort of online catalog of assessments. So definitely go check that out if you are interested in an online assessment for your students. All right, and lastly, I wanted to share with you how we use Zoom for our online classes. So Zoom is pretty awesome because you can share your screen with students so that many students can see you working on a problem together. There's a whiteboard option. Students can also share their own screens. So if they are telling you, hey, I have a question on this problem, you can actually look and problem solve that question together as a class. So students can chat with you and each other. Breakout rooms we use from time to time, and that's where students can virtually go into different rooms and work on different assignments. So that's kind of cool. Students can share their cameras as well, but we normally have them turn it off because it causes some lagging. You can share your video during this time. It might be good to just show your face and be a little bit more connected through virtual means. There is a polling as well, but I don't really use that because it's a little difficult to navigate, in my personal opinion. So what I do is I have students go into the chat, and instead of messaging to everyone, they'll just message to me their answer. So if we're working on a problem and I want to see how students are doing, I'll just say, okay, everybody work on this problem, and then private chat me your answer, and then I can give each student individualized help. And then share out what I notice from everybody. So I feel like it actually works a little bit better than polling.
There's also an option for students to annotate on the screen, so if students wanted to showcase their work on your screen as well. So if you and your school have access to Zoom, I would strongly suggest you try it out. If not, try to look up other ways where you can share screens. That's really the main um, benefit of having Zoom, is so that everybody can see something live together. I know GChat could work with, with Hangouts. It could work a little well with smaller groups. So there's ways around it. The other thing I wanted to mention about Zoom is that you can record your meeting. So that's really great for students who maybe missed the live session of you teaching. They can always watch the recording of your class at a different time where it's a little bit more convenient for them, or they can always do the same thing as your lesson videos. They can watch the recording later on to catch up on notes if you were going too quickly, or rewind and rewatch an example being done again.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments, questions, additional ideas, remember to put them in the comments below. Stay safe, everyone. Stay healthy and be kind to each other. Thanks for watching.